out of the Supreme Court comes out saying that the president has absolute immunity for his official duties and presumptive immunity for anything surrounding the presidency. And then you have to have a court decide what's official and what's unofficial. Well, President Trump's lawyers were very smart, and they said, hey, now this records-keeping case may not have anything to do with official duties of the presidency, but the prosecution used evidence from President Trump's official duties. In one piece of evidence, they called it blockbuster evidence. Very convincing evidence from communications with President Trump from inside the White House to his team. And remember, all of this happened after he was already president, so that raises an issue. So they file a motion to say, hey, we want this jury decision vacated because you used evidence that clearly falls under the Supreme Court ruling that cannot be used in trial. That means this should be thrown out. I guess they could make a new trial. The judge in this case agreed to let Trump's team file this. And if he didn't agree to it, then it would have instantly been overturned at appellate. He had to agree to this. Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, said, okay, we'll agree to this. We don't think there's anything here. Of course, he'd say that. So now the judge says he's going to rule on September 6th, and then you could get a sentencing in the 28th, I believe, in September, sometime in September. So all of this is great news. All of it pushes this back. Again, now we get President Trump through the convention. And this was a very big thing. Remember, he was supposed to be sentenced next week, just a day before the Republican convention starts. So now we won't have to worry about that. Now, here's what else is very interesting. Nobody's really talking about President Trump right now. Everybody's talking about Joe Biden. This is a good thing that they're talking about Joe Biden, but not a great thing that they're not talking about President Trump. For the first time that I can remember, President Trump is virtually absent from the media. And I don't mean totally. I mean absent for President Trump standards, right? I mean, certainly there's still mumblings about him, but not like it was. Every second of every hour of every day was covered by President Trump, by the mainstream media. So Will Scharf has become a friend of the program. He was on the other night, I believe it was CNN. He is President Trump's attorney, one of them. He's running for attorney general as well, I believe, in Missouri. But he's one of President Trump's attorneys, and he talked about this New York decision related to the Supreme Court and what the team plans to do.
Does anything in the New York case pass the test, in your view, that the Supreme Court established today in this ruling?
Yeah, absolutely, Caitlin. The Supreme Court was very clear that for acts that fall within the outer perimeter of the president's official responsibilities, acts that are presumptively immune from prosecution, that evidence of those acts cannot be used to try essentially private acts. So what we have in New York is a situation where a substantial number of official acts of the presidency, things that we believe are official acts, were used as evidence to support the charges in that New York trial. We believe that corrupts that trial. That indicates that jury verdict needs to be overturned, and at the very least, we deserve a new trial where those immune acts will not come into evidence as the Supreme Court dictated today.
All right, so there you go. You deserve a new trial. Now, there's so many things at play. Even with a regular appeal without this ruling, I think the appeal is going to be great for President Trump. But I think they do deserve a new trial. You can't have evidence entered into a trial that now constitutes something that is outside the bounds of the Constitution according to the Supreme Court. To me, it's open and shut. Now, you know, this judge in New York, he's already shown that he's so on the side of Alvin Bragg. I think he'll probably just ignore the Supreme Court like Joe Biden does when it comes to doing away with student loan debt. Will Scharf continued when pressed on this.
Which acts are you arguing that were presented in the trial are official acts?
So one example would be communications made through official White House communications channels. Those would be things that we believe, based on the Supreme Court's opinion today, fall neatly within the outer perimeter of a president's official responsibilities and duties. So certainly with respect to those sorts of official communications from the White House that were entered into evidence in that New York trial, that would be the sort of thing that would run afoul of the Supreme Court's opinion today.
Agreed. Now, that CNN anchor said she was skeptical of all of this. Well, I was skeptical, too, when I first heard it until I realized this is not about official duties being record keeping. It's about evidence that was entered in as he was conducting official duties. That is totally outside the bounds of what the Supreme Court said was allowed. Now we turn to Rudy Giuliani's case. Rudy Giuliani is guilty of nothing more than defending the president and trying to uphold election integrity. That is it. But they hate him so much they want him bankrupted. And, you know, he had to claim bankruptcy already, so they've already done that. Mission accomplished. Now they get him disbarred. So not only are you bankrupted, but they're going to stomp on your face while you're down in the dirt as well. These are the kind of things that are so outrageous to me, that the left is so vindictive. And think about the Bar Association in New York. You take an oath to not only uphold the law, but your clients all have a presumption of innocence. You are innocent until proven guilty. And yet they disbar him without a guilty verdict in any of these election cases. Yes, he had the so-called defamation case, but that has nothing to do with him being disbarred. So just because they don't like what he had to say, they kick him out, now unable to make a living. This is what they will do to any one of us, folks. That's why President Trump always says it's not about just him. It's about all of us. He stands in the gap for us, and we're grateful. 855-785-8255, 855-785-8255. Direct number to the studio. We are supposed to have Lauren Boebert coming up next, the Congresswoman from Colorado. We shall see if that happens. All right. I'm texting her right now with no response, so we shall see.